The holographic display cast an eerie blue glow across Commander Olivia Reeves's face as she studied the sensor readings for the 20th time. Something wasn't right. The quantum fluctuation patterns coming from the edge of the Kuiper belt shouldn't exist, at least not according to the physics that Earth shared with the Galactic Coalition. "Run the analysis again, Hector," she ordered, her eyes never leaving the dancing patterns of light above her station. Europa Base's AI complied silently, its quantum processors working through calculations that would have taken traditional computers years to complete. "Analysis confirms previous findings, Commander," Hector responded, its voice carrying the slight musical undertone that characterized seventh-generation AIs. "The gravitational distortions match no known natural phenomena in our database." Olivia straightened in her chair, her hand unconsciously touching the neural interface at the base of her skull. Europa Base appeared to be a simple research station to the occasional coalition inspection teams, just another example of humanity's quaint attempts to understand the universe. The truth lay hundreds of meters below the moon's icy surface, where quantum computers more advanced than anything the coalition had ever seen processed data from sensors that officially didn't exist. "Commander," Hector interrupted her thoughts, "Lieutenant Commander Benjamin Foster requests entry to the command center." "Grant access," Olivia replied, already knowing why her second-in-command would be visiting at this hour. The command center's doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing Ben's tall frame. His dark skin seemed to absorb the blue light from the holographic displays, but his eyes reflected it intensely. "The quantum signatures are getting stronger," he said without preamble, moving to stand beside her station. "Whatever's out there, it's getting closer." Olivia nodded, manipulating the holographic controls to expand the sensor display. "The coalition sensors won't detect them for another 3 days, maybe 4. The question is, do we alert them now and reveal our advanced detection capabilities, or do we wait?" Ben's expression tightened. "The Hyperion is ready. Captain Harrison sent word an hour ago, final quantum core calibrations are complete." The Hyperion. Humanity's greatest secret and most powerful warship, hidden in plain sight within the storms of Neptune. While the Coalition dismissed humans as barely capable of maintaining stable warp fields, Earth scientists had quietly mastered quantum engineering, creating weapons and defenses that operated on principles the Coalition's brightest minds hadn't even theorized yet. "Show me the projection path," Olivia commanded, and Hector obliged. A new hologram appeared, showing the solar system in miniature. A red line cut through space, heading directly toward the heart of Coalition space. "They're not random raiders," Ben observed, his voice grim. "That's a calculated invasion route." Olivia's fingers danced across her neural interface, composing a message to Earth Command. "Whatever they are, they're using technology even we don't fully understand. Those quantum signatures, they're like nothing in our database." "Commander," Hector interrupted, "I'm detecting a transmission from the unknown objects. It's unlike any communication protocol in my archives." "Play it," Olivia ordered, sharing a glance with Ben. The command center filled with a sound that made both officers wince, a screeching, multi-toned signal that seemed to shift between frequencies faster than human ears could process. "Hector, analyze that signal. Break it down into its component frequencies." The AI worked silently for several seconds before responding. "Commander, the signal appears to be both a communication and a weapon. It's designed to interfere with quantum-based technologies, but only specific frequencies that match Coalition quantum signatures." Olivia felt her pulse quicken. They know the Coalition's technological capabilities. They've studied them, prepared specifically to counter them. She paused, a slight smile playing at her lips. "But they don't know about us." Ben leaned forward, studying the projected invasion route more closely. "We could wait, let them hit the Coalition first. Maybe they'd weaken each other." "No," Olivia cut him off. "Whatever these invaders are, they're a threat to everyone. And maybe She manipulated the holographic controls again, zooming in on the approaching signatures. Maybe this is humanity's chance to step out of the shadows. Her neural interface pinged, a priority response from Earth Command. Olivia's eyes widened slightly as she read it. Orders? Ben asked, noting her expression. Operation Revelation is authorized, she replied, already beginning to input commands into her station. The Hyperion is to proceed to Coalition space immediately. We're to maintain our cover here, but prepare for possible evacuation. And Ben? She looked up at her second-in-command. We're to begin powering up the quantum defense grid. All of it. Around them, Europa base hummed with hidden power as systems that had laid dormant for years began to wake. Deep beneath the icy surface, quantum reactors spun up to full capacity, and weapons that could reshape reality itself waited for their moment. Send word to Ambassador Walsh, Olivia ordered as she worked. She'll need to begin preparing the Coalition for some surprising revelations about humanity's capabilities. And Captain Harrison? Olivia's hands stilled over her controls for a moment. Tell him it's time to show the galaxy what humanity has been working on while they weren't paying attention. As Ben left to carry out her orders, Olivia returned her attention to the sensor readings. The unknown vessels were still approaching, their strange quantum signatures leaving trails of distorted spacetime in their wake. They thought they were prepared for everything the galaxy could throw at them. They had studied the Coalition's technology, developed countermeasures for their weapons, probably even planned for their strategies. But they hadn't planned for humanity. They hadn't planned for a species that had turned their technological isolation into an advantage, developing weapons and defenses that operated on principles no one else had even considered. As Olivia watched the hostile fleets approach, she couldn't help but feel a mix of anticipation and concern. The galaxy was about to change, and humanity would be at the center of that change. In the depths of space, the unknown fleet continued its advance, unaware that their carefully laid plans were about to encounter something they had never expected, a humanity that had outgrown its cradle while no one was watching. Captain Marcus Harrison stood in the observation deck of the Hyperion, watching Neptune storms rage through the quantum-reinforced viewport. The massive warship hung suspended in the planet's upper atmosphere, hidden from conventional sensors by a combination of natural interference and technology that shouldn't exist. Final system check complete, Captain, reported Lieutenant Raina Patel from her station. Her fingers moved across interfaces that shifted between solid and energy states, monitoring systems that defied conventional physics. Quantum core is stable at 98% capacity. Marcus nodded, his reflection ghost-like against the viewport surface. After 15 years of development and testing, the Hyperion was about to reveal itself to the galaxy. The ship represented humanity's greatest achievement, a vessel that could manipulate quantum states at will, changing its very nature as needed. Message from Commander Reeves, sir, announced Communications Officer Julian Rodriguez. Europa base confirms the unknown fleet's trajectory remains unchanged. Time to intercept with Coalition space, 72 hours. Acknowledged. Marcus turned from the viewport, his movements deliberate. The bridge crew watched him with a mixture of anticipation and tension. They had trained for years for this moment, running countless simulations, but this would be different. This would be real. Status of the quantum weapon systems, he asked, moving to the central command station. All green, sir, responded Weapons Officer Naomi Singh. Probability cannons are charged and ready. Reality anchors are maintaining stable fields. She paused, checking another reading. Quantum torpedoes are primed, though I still recommend caution with those. The temporal feedback from the last test. Noted, Marcus cut her off with a slight smile. The temporal feedback she referred to had created a 3-day time loop in a remote testing area. It had taken their best scientists a week to unravel it, though technically, it had both taken a week and no time at all. Engineering reports ready, Captain, First Officer Thomas Chen's voice came from behind him. Dr. Valentina Petrov says the quantum core modifications are holding steady. We can maintain full combat operations for up to 72 hours before requiring a reset cycle. Marcus settled into his command chair, activating his neural interface. The ship's systems connected directly to his consciousness, feeding him data about every aspect of the vessel's operations. The Hyperion wasn't just a warship, it was an extension of its crew's will, guided by human minds through quantum-enabled neural links. Begin pre-launch sequence, he ordered. Prepare to break Neptune's atmosphere. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, their actions synchronized through their neural interfaces. The Hyperion's quantum core hummed louder, its energy spreading through the ship's systems. "Sir," Julian called out, "incoming transmission from Earth Command. Priority 1. Marcus accepted the transmission through his neural interface. Admiral Helena Santos's holographic image appeared before him, her expression grave. "Captain Harrison, the situation has evolved. The unknown fleet has accelerated its approach. New intercept time with Coalition space, 48 hours. Additionally, we've detected what appear to be scout vessels breaking off from the main fleet." Marcus leaned forward slightly. "Search patterns?" "Affirmative. They're being thorough, more thorough than the Coalition's sensor capabilities would require. We believe they may have some way of detecting quantum-based technologies." "That could be problematic," Marcus mused, though his expression remained calm. "The Hyperion systems are all quantum-based." "True," Helena replied, "but our quantum technology operates on principles even the Coalition hasn't discovered yet. These invaders have clearly studied Coalition quantum signatures. They won't be looking for what we've developed. Unless they detect us anyway," Marcus pointed out. "In which case, we'll be revealing ourselves sooner than planned. Then don't let them detect you." Helena's hologram flickered slightly. "Your orders remain unchanged, Captain. Proceed to Coalition space and prepare to engage the unknown fleet. The Hyperion is authorized to reveal its full capabilities when the tactical situation requires it." "Understood, Admiral. What about the Coalition representatives?" "Ambassador Walsh is handling that situation. For now, maintain radio silence except for priority communications with Earth Command or Europa Base." Helena's hologram paused. "Good hunting, Captain. Show them what humanity can do." As the transmission ended, Marcus turned to his crew. "You heard the Admiral. Set course for Coalition space, maximum stealth protocols. Lieutenant Patel, configure the quantum core for minimal signature output. Mr. Rodriguez, maintain passive sensors only. Let's try to stay unnoticed as long as possible." The Hyperion began to rise through Neptune's atmosphere, its quantum fields adjusting continuously to mask its presence. On the bridge, Marcus watched as his crew coordinated their actions through their neural interfaces, each person connected to the ship and to each other in ways the Coalition would consider impossible. "Scout vessel detected at extreme range," Reyna reported. "Their sensors are unusual. The quantum fluctuations they're emitting suggest technology similar to but distinct from Coalition designs." "Can they detect us?" "Negative, Captain. Their scan patterns indicate they're looking for specific quantum signatures, Coalition frequencies. Our systems operate on completely different principles." Marcus nodded, watching through the ship's sensors as the scout vessel passed by, oblivious to the massive warship hiding in plain sight. The Hyperion continued its ascent, its hull shifting between states of matter, its very existence a contradiction of what the galaxy thought possible. "Set course for the Coalition border," he ordered. "Maximum quantum drive once we clear the solar system. It's time to show the galaxy that humanity has learned a few new tricks." As the Hyperion broke free from Neptune's gravity well, its quantum drive engaging, Marcus couldn't help but wonder how the galaxy would react when they learned the truth. Humanity hadn't been struggling to keep up with coalition technology, they had surpassed it years ago, developing in directions no one else had considered. Soon, very soon, both the coalition and these unknown invaders would learn just how far humanity had come. And Marcus had a feeling the galaxy would never be the same again. Ambassador Diana Walsh kept her expression carefully neutral as she listened to the Coalition Security Council's debate. The massive chamber, with its sweeping crystalline architecture and floating holographic displays, was filled with representatives from 30 different species. None of them paid much attention to the human diplomat seated in the lower tier, exactly as she preferred. The long-range sensors are certain, declared High Commander Vexterra, his crystalline form shimmering with agitation. The unknown fleet numbers in the thousands. They will reach our borders in less than 48 hours. Perhaps, suggested Counselor Zinare, her tentacles weaving patterns of concern, we should request additional support from the human systems? Their territory lies between the approaching fleet and our core worlds. Quiet laughter rippled through the chamber. Diana noticed how several representatives didn't even bother to hide their amusement. With respect, Counselor, said Minister Krell of the Arctarian Empire, what exactly do you expect the humans to contribute? Their most advanced ships barely manage stable warp fields. They would be a liability in combat. Diana activated her neural interface, carefully hidden beneath her skin, and sent a coded update to Earth Command. The Coalition's dismissive attitude remained unchanged, perfect cover for what was coming. The human systems have limited defensive capabilities, she spoke up, letting a hint of concern color her voice. We request Coalition support in protecting our civilian populations. More patronizing looks. Diana had spent years cultivating this image, the earnest but technologically limited human representative, always eager to learn from her betters in the Coalition. Of course, Ambassador Walsh, High Commander Vexterra said smoothly. We will dispatch a defensive fleet to your sector. Though I suggest evacuating your outer colonies. Your ship's limited FTL capabilities might make a later evacuation problematic. Thank you, High Commander. Humanity appreciates the Coalition's protection. Diana bowed slightly, hiding her smile. If they only knew that the Hyperion could outrun their fastest ships while operating at quarter power. The meeting continued, with various species offering military assets to the Joint Defense Fleet. Diana noted how they positioned their forces, identifying the gaps in their formation, gaps that would prove crucial in the coming battle. Her neural interface pinged, a priority message from Europa Base. She kept her face neutral as she read Commander Reeves's update. The unknown fleet scout vessels were becoming more aggressive in their search patterns, but they remained focused on Coalition quantum signatures. We must consider, Minister Krell was saying, that these invaders have studied our capabilities. Their approach vector suggests detailed knowledge of our defensive networks. Agreed, said Counselor Zinare. Their technology seems specifically designed to counter our quantum-based systems. The question is, how did they acquire such detailed information about our defenses? Diana listened as they debated theories, none of them considering that humanity's primitive technology might be their salvation. Her neural interface pinged again, this time a message from Captain Harrison. The Hyperion was in position, hidden at the edge of Coalition space. Ambassador Walsh, High Commander Vexterra's voice pulled her from her thoughts. Your people's territory will likely see the first contact with this enemy fleet. We are transmitting coordinates for your civilian ships to fall back to Coalition protection zones. Actually, High Commander, Diana said carefully, I've just received word that our long-range sensors have detected something unusual. We would like to share our data with the Coalition. The chamber grew quiet, more out of politeness than interest. Diana activated her datapad, transmitting carefully edited sensor logs to the central display. The Coalition representatives studied the data with barely concealed condescension. These readings are interesting, Minister Krell said diplomatically, but our advanced sensors have already provided much more detailed information. Of course, Diana agreed smoothly. We merely wished to contribute what we could to the defense effort. As the meeting continued, Diana composed a coded response to Captain Harrison. Everything was proceeding as planned. The coalition remained completely unaware of humanity's true capabilities, and their defensive formations would leave perfect gaps for the Hyperion to exploit. Her neural interface brought another update from Commander Reeves. The unknown fleet's quantum signatures were becoming stronger, more aggressive. Whatever these invaders were, they were confident in their approach. They had studied the coalition's technology, prepared countermeasures for their quantum-based weapons and defenses. But they, like the coalition, had overlooked humanity. The meeting concluded with the final defense plans being distributed. Diana accepted her copy with appropriate gratitude, already noting how the coalition ships would be positioned exactly where humanity needed them. As she left the chamber, she passed Minister Krell and Counselor Zinare deep in discussion about evacuation protocols for the human systems. Neither of them paid her any attention, just another representative of a primitive species, barely worth noticing. Perfect. Diana made her way to her private quarters in the coalition station, where she could safely activate her quantum-encrypted communication system. The device, disguised as a standard human datapad, connected directly to her neural interface. Operation status confirmed, she reported to Earth Command. Coalition forces are deploying exactly as predicted. They've positioned their quantum-based defenses in a standard Arcturian formation. The unknown fleet scout vessels continue to focus on coalition signatures. Understood, Ambassador. Admiral Santos's reply came through her neural link. The Hyperion is in position. Commander Reeves reports Europa Base's quantum defense grid is fully operational. We are ready to proceed when the enemy fleet arrives. Diana looked out her viewport at the gathering coalition ships, their hulls gleaming with advanced technology that they thought made them invincible. Soon they would learn that while they had been dismissing humanity as primitive, Earth had been developing weapons and defenses that operated on principles they hadn't even discovered yet. Maintain current protocol, she replied to Admiral Santos. Let them keep underestimating us. In 48 hours, they'll learn what humanity has been doing while they weren't paying attention. The unknown fleet emerged from quantum space like a tide of darkness, their ships moving with an unnatural synchronization that sent chills through even the most experienced coalition observers. Captain Marcus Harrison watched from the Hyperion's cloaked position as thousands of enemy vessels spread out in attack formation. They're jamming coalition quantum frequencies, Lieutenant Raina Patel reported, her hands dancing across her shifting interface. Their weapons are strange. They're not just disrupting quantum fields, they're corrupting them. On the massive holographic display dominating the Hyperion's bridge, the coalition defense fleet looked pitifully small against the invasion force. The coalition ships were advancing in their standard formation, their quantum shields blazing with power, completely unaware that their defensive systems were about to be rendered useless. Message from Ambassador Walsh, Julian Rodriguez announced. Coalition Command is proceeding with their primary defense strategy. They're deploying their quantum barrier network now. Marcus watched as the Coalition's most advanced defensive technology activated, a network of quantum fields designed to disrupt any hostile ships attempting to pass through them. Under normal circumstances, it would have been an impressive display of power. The enemy fleet didn't even slow down. Coalition quantum barriers are failing, Raina reported, her voice tight. The enemy weapons they're not just penetrating the barriers, they're using the Coalition's own quantum fields against them. Marcus straightened in his command chair. Status of our quantum core? Stable at 100%, Captain, responded Dr. Valentina Petrov from Engineering. Our quantum signature remains undetectable to both coalition and enemy sensors. We can maintain this position indefinitely. The first shots were fired, brilliant beams of corrupted quantum energy lancing out from the enemy fleet. Coalition ships that were hit didn't explode. Instead, their quantum cores destabilized, causing them to phase in and out of normal space before collapsing in on themselves. Coalition fleet is taking heavy casualties, Thomas Chen reported grimly. Their weapons are having minimal effect on the enemy shields. Ambassador Walsh reports Coalition Command is considering a full retreat. Marcus's neural interface pinged with a priority message from Earth Command. A slight smile crossed his face as he read the orders. All hands, battle stations, he commanded, his voice carrying through the ship's quantum-enhanced communications. Lieutenant Patel, bring our quantum core to full combat power. Mr. Rodriguez, open a channel to all Coalition frequencies. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, their neural interfaces synchronizing with the ship's systems. The Hyperion's quantum core hummed louder as power flooded through systems that operated on principles neither the Coalition or the invaders had discovered. Channel open, sir, Julian reported. Marcus stood, his voice clear and commanding. To all Coalition forces, this is Captain Marcus Harrison of the Earth ship Hyperion. Fall back to secondary positions. We will handle the enemy vanguard. Confused responses flooded the communications channels as the Coalition commanders tried to understand what this unknown human ship thought it could accomplish. Their confusion turned to shock as the Hyperion decloaked, its massive form seeming to materialize from nothing directly in the path of the enemy fleet. Enemy vessels are altering course to engage, Naomi Singh reported from weapons. They're attempting to lock their quantum disruptors on us. Let them try, Marcus said calmly. Dr. Petrov, activate the probability drive. Lieutenant Singh, target the enemy command ships with quantum torpedoes. Show them what human engineering can do. The Hyperion's quantum core pulsed, and reality itself seemed to shudder around the ship. Enemy weapons fire passed harmlessly through space where the Hyperion had a 99.9% probability of not being, while quantum torpedoes that existed in multiple states simultaneously streaked toward their targets. The results were devastating. Enemy ships didn't just explode, they ceased to exist in current spacetime, their quantum signatures scattered across multiple probability states. The invasion fleet's perfect formation began to break as they encountered weapons and defenses that operated on principles they couldn't understand. Coalition Command is demanding an explanation, Julian reported, a hint of amusement in his voice. They're having trouble processing what they're seeing. Send them Ambassador Walsh's prepared statement, Marcus ordered. And signal Commander Reeves, tell her to bring Europa Base's defense grid online. Let's show them everything. Across the battlefield, more human ships began to decloak, not many, but each one wielding technology that made Coalition weapons look primitive in comparison. From the direction of Earth, quantum signatures flared as humanity's defensive grid activated, creating probability fields that could redirect entire fleets into parallel timelines. Enemy fleet is attempting to regroup, Thomas reported. Their weapons they're trying to adapt to our quantum signature, but they can't lock onto our probability state. Marcus watched as the enemy's carefully planned assault began to fall apart. They had studied the Coalition's quantum technology, developed perfect countermeasures for their weapons and defenses. But they hadn't counted on humanity developing in a completely different direction, creating weapons that didn't just use quantum mechanics, they rewrote them. Multiple enemy ships are attempting to retreat, Reyna announced. Their quantum signatures are destabilizing. Whatever they use to corrupt Coalition quantum fields is backfiring when they try to use it on our systems. Message from Ambassador Walsh, Julian cut in. Coalition Command is requesting an immediate conference to discuss humanity's technological capabilities. A slight smile crossed Marcus's face. Tell them we'll be happy to discuss it, after we deal with the current situation. Lieutenant Singh, prepare another volley of quantum torpedoes. Let's make sure these invaders understand exactly what they've stumbled into. The Hyperion moved through space like a ghost, its probability drive making it virtually untouchable as it systematically dismantled the enemy fleet. Around it, coalition ships watched in stunned silence as humanity revealed what they had been developing while everyone else had dismissed them as primitive. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was leading that change, not through brute force or overwhelming numbers, but through innovation that defied conventional understanding. The age of underestimating humanity was over. 1 month after the battle that changed galactic politics forever, Ambassador Diana Walsh stood in the newly reconstructed Coalition Council chamber. The room had been rebuilt with a significant change. The tiered seating that had once separated advanced and primitive species was gone, replaced by a circular arrangement where all representatives sat as equals. The investigation into the origins of the hostile fleet is complete, High Commander Vexterra announced, his crystalline form noticeably less rigid than before when addressing a human. They called themselves the Quantum Collective, a species that had devoted themselves entirely to mastering quantum technology as we understood it. Their fatal mistake, Minister Krell added, without his former condescension, was assuming that quantum technology could only develop along one path. They studied our methods, developed countermeasures, but never imagined someone would approach it differently. Diana's neural interface quietly recorded the proceedings while she maintained her diplomatic composure. The past month had seen a complete restructuring of galactic power dynamics. Humanity's revelation of their true technological capabilities had shattered centuries of established hierarchies. Commander Reeves, Diana spoke, would you share the analysis of the enemy's remaining technology? Olivia Reeves's hologram materialized in the center of the chamber. The Europa base commander had become something of a legend among coalition species after her base's defensive grid had single-handedly protected 3 sectors during the conflict. The Quantum Collective's technology was impressive, Olivia began, but fundamentally flawed. They tried to control quantum mechanics through force, rather than working with the natural probability states. Their weapons relied on corrupting existing quantum fields, which made them devastating against coalition technology but useless against our probability-based systems. The chamber was silent as Olivia's hologram displayed technical data that would have been classified as impossible just a month ago. The coalition's best scientists were still trying to understand how humanity had developed probability drives and quantum torpedoes while pretending to struggle with basic warp technology. Captain Harrison's report from the Hyperion's pursuit of the remaining collective ships, Olivia continued, confirms they've retreated beyond the galaxy's edge. Their entire strategy relied on their quantum corruption weapons. Once those proved ineffective against human ships, they had no backup plan. The hologram shifted to show the Hyperion in action, its probability drive allowing it to exist in multiple states simultaneously, making it virtually untouchable while its weapons rewrote local spacetime. Several coalition representatives still showed signs of discomfort at the display, not from fear, but from the lingering embarrassment of having dismissed humanity for so long. Which brings us to the matter at hand, Diana said, rising from her seat. The coalition's request for access to human quantum technology. The chamber grew tense. This was the moment many had been waiting for. Would humanity take revenge for years of condescension by withholding their advanced technology? Earth Command has reviewed your request, Diana continued, and we have decided to share our developments, with certain conditions. Name them, Counselor Zinare said quickly, her tentacles moving in patterns of eager anticipation. First, a complete restructuring of the Coalition's technological classification system. No more hierarchies based on perceived advancement. Different approaches to science should be celebrated, not ranked. Agreement came quickly. Many species had chafed under the old system but lacked the power to challenge it. Second, joint research initiatives. Humanity's approach to quantum mechanics is different from both the coalitions and the collectives. Imagine what we might discover by combining our methodologies. And third, Diana paused, making eye contact with each representative, a new defensive pact. The quantum collective may return, or we may face other threats. We stand better chances united than divided by artificial hierarchies. The voting was unanimous. As Diana watched the coalition representatives enthusiastically approve each condition, she felt her neural interface ping with a message from Captain Harrison. The Hyperion had completed its patrol of the galactic border, its quantum sensors detecting no sign of the collective's return. "There's one more thing," Diana added as the formal voting concluded. "A demonstration. Commander Reeves, if you would?" Olivia's hologram smiled and made a small gesture. Suddenly, the chamber's quantum field generators, installed by coalition engineers decades ago, shifted frequency. The entire room's probability state altered, and for a brief moment, every being present could see multiple timeline versions of themselves, infinite possibilities existing simultaneously. "That," Diana said into the stunned silence that followed, "is what becomes possible when we stop limiting ourselves to one way of thinking. Humanity didn't develop our technology in isolation because we had to, we did it because we chose to explore different paths." As the Coalition Council broke into excited discussion about the implications of probability-based quantum technology, Diana sent a final message through her neural interface to Earth Command. The transition was proceeding exactly as planned. Humanity had revealed their capabilities not to dominate, but to elevate, to show the galaxy that innovation comes not from following established paths, but from daring to think differently. Marcus Harrison, watching the proceedings through his own neural link aboard the Hyperion, smiled as he authorized the release of the first technical packets to Coalition engineers. The galaxy was entering a new age, one where humanity's greatest achievement wasn't their advanced technology, but their ability to inspire others to look beyond conventional wisdom. In the depths of space, the Hyperion continued its patrol, its quantum core humming with power that defied traditional physics. The ship was no longer just a symbol of humanity's secret advancement, it had become a beacon of possibility, a reminder that the greatest discoveries come not from following established paths, but from daring to forge new ones. The age of underestimating humanity was over. The age of innovation had begun.